Welcome to Real Life DFW on Fishbowl Radio Network. This is Heidi Hardy, your host. Welcome. It's Wednesday, and we call it Real Life DFW Day. I'm so excited to be here with you, listeners, and thank you for tuning in. We have a very cool show today. It's one of those shows that I really get jazzed about because it's about powerful women. And so the show's called It's a Woman's World with Brandy Austin. And if you don't know Brandy Austin, we're going to get to know her really well today. In fact, she's here in the studio with me. Hi, Brandy.
Hello.
Awesome. Yeah, we've both been sort of giddy excited about this show because we met really about a month ago. It hasn't been very long.
Not long at all.
No. And so, but ever since we met, we sort of hit it off. And this is a woman who is inspirational. She's got a great story. And I think the other piece to this, Brandy, that I like so much is that you've got so many things happening today that that you're passionate about and excited about. So we'll talk more about that.
Great.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Okay, listeners, I do have to start the show by telling you you can participate in the show and call in at any time to 214-431-5062. We welcome your questions. We welcome comments. Brandy is an attorney, and I don't know that we're going to go there as far as questions about law. But if you have some questions about how to get yourself into a law career or business owner question, please bring it in. And I don't know, Brandy, do you have any questions that are off limits?
Well, I can't give legal advice,
Okay.
but I can definitely put you in the right direction and give you great resources to help you figure out the solution to your problem.
Awesome. Okay. Well, there you go. So call us at 214-431-5062 if the Spirit so moves you. Also, you can direct your family and friends to listen to the show at www.reallifedfw.com. And there is a big, huge red button called the Easy button. You just click on that button, and that'll get you right to the Blue Bowl here at Fishbowl Radio Network. You can also go to fbrn.us and click on the Blue Bowl there, and that's where we're broadcasting from. And this show is brought to you proudly by Ethernet. Ethernet is locally owned and operated IT managed services, internet services, hosted voicemail solutions. Call Ethernet today to get a free 30-minute consultation. 214-269-8316. That's 214-269-8316. And I did say free consultation, so please do call 214-269-8316. Okay, let's get back to the great topic that we have at hand, and it's called It's a Woman's World. And one of the things that I like to do here on Real Life DFW is sort of remind the listeners how Real Life DFW transpired, what happened, why are we here today together. I was invited by a friend, very similar to you, Brandy, being invited today, and I got behind this mic, and it was like a bolt of lightning. It was so exciting. I really enjoyed it. It was also fairly easy to just have a conversation in the room in the studio behind the mic and talk. So that sort of gave me the bug here, and what I wanted to do and what I've known I've had passion for are people. Love people's story. I love to hear. I love to sit down and have lunch or coffee and talk about what they do and why they do it. So Real Life DFW just kind of took on that format, is let's get to the real stories that we want to hear, that will motivate us, that will make us cry, that will make us laugh, that will inspire us to do more and be more. I think celebrities are great. I say that all the time. I love Beyonce, and I love the professional athletes that are out there, and I know they've worked hard for their status. But I find real people, my next-door neighbor, my networking partners, my friends, my family, I find them so much more interesting, and I can connect better with those people than I can with Beyonce. So that's what Real Life DFW is about. It's about real people, real stories, and real life. And so we're really excited to have you again, and we're going to get going on the show here very, very quickly. The whole topic is It's a Woman's World, but this is the part of the show that we're going to talk a little bit about some funny things that are going on locally. And Brandy, I know nobody's, I think the whole country, the whole world knows that we're underwater.
Yes, definitely.
We are. We're underwater here in Texas, and we've seen the sun, and actually I've been squinting all day. So what is that? I haven't seen the sun for 3 weeks. So fortunately, the sun is out today, and we've got a little bit of a break from the rain.
Yes, a little bit.
I know. And so the I guess what the world wants to hear or know, what's interesting about internet radio is there's people all over the world. I think we've had people from Korea and Australia and Great Britain, people everywhere who listen to the show. And we had I think this is the largest amount of tornadoes we've had in several years.
Well, I have a funny story.
Okay.
Funny, I guess. I was traveling to Oklahoma with my husband over the weekend, and on the way back we got stuck in Atoka, Oklahoma, which just happened to have a tornado. So my daughter, I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, so my daughter and my husband and I were hunkered down in the men's bathroom of a Walmart while the tornado passed by just Monday.
Wow. Okay. that not funny, haha.
Not funny, funny ironic, I guess.
Funny, interesting. Wow. So was your daughter scared?
She was very scared, but there were a lot of people there that were covering us with pillows, and the staff was great. And they could have used a couple extra emergency radios, but other than that, they did a really great job of keeping all the children calm.
Yeah. Well, I do know that we've been in that situation where the big storm came down. We were in Toys R Us, and I hear what you're saying about those extra radios because it was so interesting watching the people that work, the managers, go to work. And you can tell the ones that are ready for it, right? They're ready.
Yeah.
They're going to push the people in the safe location, and they're going to make sure you're not overwhelmed and panicked. And so I'm glad to hear that you guys made it out safe.
Made it out safe.
Yeah. So there was no tornado; it was just a warning.
No. There were tornadoes.
Oh wow!
Just not on the Walmart that we were at. I think they were 2 miles away, and then there were the flash floods. So it took us quite a while to get back home, where we're still having tons of water flowing through our yard just daily.
Yeah. Well, that's the news lately, right?
Right.
Every minute. If you're watching TV or if you're listening to terrestrial radio, you're hearing warning signals and signs of flash flood warnings. And so today, hopefully, we'll get a little bit dried up. I know we're looking at some more possible storms later tonight, but hopefully we're seeing the last of it over the next few
Hopefully,
weeks.
we've been in a drought for several years, so I'm happy to have the water replenished in all the lakes, and hopefully we can just have regular, normal weather for a few years.
Yeah. It's funny that you said that because I think it was 2008. It's like the whole month of June it rained, and we have a pool in our backyard, and we're really excited about summer because we like to just hang out back there. And I just remember being bummed for a whole month because we had a ton of rain, and I guess it comes and goes. Yeah, in waves. But we're dry and we're safe, and so and I am thankful for the little respite that we have, and my prayers and my heart goes out to those who've suffered from the flooding and the storms, and just hope we can get our lives back in order.
Turn around, don't drown.
There we go. That's so funny. That is the slogan for the Is it Texas?
I think it's the Texas. It's just the Texas National Weather Service or the Texas Weather Service or something. I'm not sure. I've heard it everywhere on every radio station, every news channel, on the Weather Channel. Turn around, don't drown.
Yes, that's hilarious. Well, it is appropriate that today, May 27th, is National Sunglasses Day. And I really meant to go buy some really goofy sunglasses, but do you have sunglasses with you?
I do.
Well, at the break, we'll get our sunglasses on and we'll get a picture of us celebrating National Sunglasses Day. So, and really, there's an actual day of it. It's really quite interesting. I think it's ophthalmologists and they want you to protect your eyes.
I swear by sunglasses, even if it's slightly light outside. I like to have them just because it stops the wrinkles and protects your eyes from all the bad stuff and UV rays and all that stuff. So I swear by it. I wear them every day unless it's dark. And my daughter wears them and my husband wears them. We just love sunglasses.
Yeah, we do too. We're the same way. That's so funny. I know. We do too. And we I wore them nonstop until I needed reading glasses. And then I have a hard time reading and with my sunglasses. So I probably should just get a prescription of sunglasses. But that's another story. Happens after a certain age. You just start using your arms to read. It's odd. Yeah, and I guess one other thing that I guess locally that's gone on that really, I don't know that it ended in a happy note, but it's a better ending than I think a lot of people had hoped. But there was a young lady that was abducted, the 9-year-old young.
Yes, I heard of that.
Yeah, and she, I guess her uncle took her. And, I bring that up only because I know we're both mothers and parents, and sometimes we have to be part of being on the radio and having a show is just bringing back that awareness to protect your children and make sure that, we're telling them how to get in touch with us, helping them remember their phone numbers. And I'm not sure what the particulars are of this case. I'm sure there's a lot of personal things that happen that we don't know about from the media. But it does remind us that, the kids are vulnerable.
They really are. And, I try to take extra steps as well. I have a job that there's always an adversary on the other side. And there's always an extra person involved. There's an attorney and there's usually a client on the other side. And that does cause concern. So I keep my daughter completely off of social media. No Facebook postings, nothing like that. I don't want anybody to know what she looks like. And I rarely mention her name. Just because of the extra concern.
Yeah, and I think that's really smart. I mean, I definitely know that my kids are goners because I had no such restraint as you have. But my children are grown, and then my grandchildren, I know that they're very protected. But I think that's very smart, especially if you're in the public eye like you are.
Yes.
So, great segue, by the way. Thank you. Because you said you have a job that it has to do with an advocate.
Yes.
And so let me read to the listeners a little bit about you, okay? And I want you to know I read verbatim a little bit on your bio that you send me, but I'll try not to do it too robotically. Okay. So Brandy Austin is a founding member of the firm. Her practice specializes in personal injury, family law, elder law, small business litigation, and wills and probates. Brandy attended East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina, for her undergraduate degree. She majored in both English and political science. She went on to attend Baylor Law School, successfully completed Baylor's prestigious practice court program. She was part of Baylor's National Client Counseling team and participated in their moot court competition.
That's a lot of stuff, yes.
It is. Well, hold on. We still got a little bit more here. You went on to defend clients sued for medical malpractice, which I think is really interesting, products liability, and personal injury. She has represented numerous clients at depositions, hearings, and trials. However, she wanted a closer partnership with her clients and decided to diversify her practice to include a variety of areas. Brandy moved to North Texas immediately following law school and currently lives with her husband and daughter in Burleson, Texas, where she serves on the cemetery board.
I do.
That's an interesting story. We're talking cemetery as in...
Yes, the cemetery.
Okay. The cemetery. Okay, very cool. And your areas of practice, again, are personal injury, family law, elder law, wills, and probate. And then, of course, it goes on to talk to us about your wonderful education here as an attorney. And there's a Rising Star Super Lawyers.
I am a super lawyer this year.
Oh, my gosh. That's 2015. And then Verdict Search publication in 2015.
Yes, got a very nice verdict out of Johnson County. Nice verdict for us. And we got a publication and a nice plaque and all sorts of good recognition.
That's amazing. Well, good. I mean, so one of the things, we have a really good positive thought for the week in coming up at the end of the show. We do it at the end of the show, and it is about if you're doing something passionate that you're passionate about, you're attracting good things to you.
Yes.
And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on the show, because I know as we sat and we had lunch and we've talked and visited that you've got this story about why you're an attorney today. So we're going to take a break in about 4 minutes. Can you give them a little tease? Let's talk about Brandy Austin. Brandy Austin Law is what the firm is called. But let's talk about, what made you want to become an attorney?
Okay. Well, initially, I had absolutely no interest in being an attorney. I wanted to be a creative writer, which I got my undergrad degree in. And then I went to a program at a Southern Illinois law school, I believe it was, for potential lawyers. So I went and I enjoyed it. I was really good at it. Still didn't want to be a lawyer, really. Came back. I personally went through a divorce when I was very young, and worked at a legal aid. And I got to see what people were like when they were going through divorce. It's often the worst time in their lives. They're at the most confused state. They don't know what to do. They still kind of love this person, but yet they're at odds with them, and I just wanted to help them through it, is initially why I got started. I wanted to hold their hand and stand up for them when they couldn't stand up for themselves. So I went to law school. That was not the first job that I was able to get. I ended up doing medical malpractice defense, which gave me some great litigation skills. Was able to learn how to draft all sorts of documents and do all sorts of legal things, which, is what it is. Eventually, when I had my daughter, I kind of came back full circle. I wanted to be with people, helping clients, holding their hands through some of the toughest times in their lives, whether that be an accident that occurs, somebody dies in their family, a divorce, custody situation. There's so many different problems that happen in people's lives, and I am blessed with the opportunity to be able to hold their hand and walk them through it and guide them to a direction where they can be happy with the outcome.
Wow. So it started with your desire to be a service.
Yes. We are a service. Whether another attorney says it or not, lawyers absolutely serve their clients. It's customer service, just like retail, just like a waitress. There's a client that has a need. We're there to help fulfill that need. And at the end of the day, the client has to live with the results of the case and the choices that are made. So they direct their case. We just advise them through it.
Wow. Well, that's not how attorneys are perceived in the public eye all the time.
That's not how all attorneys think.
So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on the show, because I know that's one of your differentiators in your practice.
Definitely.
You believe in customer care. You believe in serving your clients, and that's why
Absolutely.
You're doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I that really moves me. I've been divorced twice, and I'm in my third marriage, and I'm proud, because I think sometimes it takes you a little bit of some people learn the hard way. But, each time that I went through that very painful situation, I did feel alone. Even your family, a lot of times they're not proud of it, and they're against the divorce. And
well, you can't tell your family everything.
That's right.
It's personal. Sometimes it's secret, and you don't want to include everyone into your secret. And until you get past the shame of the feelings that you have, you're not going to be able to deal with it. So that's why attorneys are here. We are bound to be confidential, so we're never going to spill your secrets, and we can guide you in the right direction.
Wow. Well, I have to say, I don't think I had an attorney for either divorce, and it was always because of finance. It was always me feeling that, it wasn't something that I could do, but knowing that, and also not knowing that there's firms like yours with women attorneys who have this kind of passion to be a service to people going through this hard time. So again, thank you for that, and for this message to anyone who's listening that might need help today.
Absolutely. There are options out there. You don't have to go with the guy on the billboard or the lady on the billboard. Absolutely find someone who fits your needs.
Okay. So that's great. That helps us sort of see where you started. And once we get through with this break, we'll go back to a little bit more of where you are today.
Okay.
Welcome back. This is Heidi Hardy with Real Life DFW on Fishbowl Radio Network. I am your host, and we are having a fabulous show today. Today's topic, for those of you who are just clicking in and listening, is called It's a Woman's World with Brandy Austin. Brandy is in the studio with me. Hello, Brandy.
Hello.
Welcome, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Brandy is locally here in Arlington, Texas, in the DFW area. She is a mother, a wife, a business owner, an attorney. Did I miss anything?
I mean, housekeeper occasionally. I'm not really great at it, but cook, all those things.
In a cemetery, you're on the cemetery board, which
I am on the cemetery board in Burleson because I live in Burleson, Texas. We meet quarterly to talk about the community cemetery and all the different things involved, because actually the cemetery has its own laws and regulations.
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Wow. So how did you get recruited to be on the board there?
Well, when I first moved to Burleson, I wanted to get involved in some of the community government because I have a political science degree. I'm an attorney. It kind of all goes hand in hand. And so I just applied through an application. I sent in my information, and whenever they had an opening, they invited me in.
That is so interesting. Well, I find cemeteries fascinating. I don't get spooked about that kind of stuff at all. And they actually, the better run, the better kept, it's very peaceful. It's very lovely to be there. And it should be for the loved ones who are still here.
Yes.
And so, good. That's great. That's great that you were chosen to do that. And I did not know that they have their own set of laws. So we'll have to talk about that a little bit more, maybe later in the show. Today's show is about strong women. I mean, that's really what today's show is about. Brandy and I met not too long ago, and I immediately was drawn to her light, her passion, her fire. She's got a fire about her, and that, for me, is one of the things that we like to do on Real Life DFW, is bring people who can inspire and motivate us with their stories, with their light and passion, because believe it or not, that emanates even through radio waves. I mean, it doesn't seem like it would, but it does. And I think it's important for listeners to be aware that there are many great leaders in different forms. And the form today that we are taking our leadership is women.
Yes.
We are leaders, and you are a leader in your community. One of the things that I noticed that you do really well, and you're very aggressive in a good way, is you get out and really market your business. So tell us about that marketing piece of Brandy Austin Law.
Well, marketing is everything, in my opinion. If you want your business to be successful, you need clients or customers, and the only way to get clients and customers is to go face-to-face and meet people. Internet really helps, don't get me wrong, but long-term customers come from face-to-face interactions. And even if you can't help one person, then maybe find someone else that can help that person and connect those two, and then those two people will remember you. And whenever somebody needs an attorney, in my instance, they'll just say, oh, wait, Brandy Austin, she does that, and we'll get a client that way. And then it just builds on from there. I make sure that every single person I hire is willing to go to marketing events. So everyone from the secretary to me, we all go to ribbon cuttings, we all go to parties, pretty much anything to get our name out there, to get our face out there, to show that we're ready and willing to help in any way that we can.
Which, again, stereotypically, and I'm trying not to be stereotyping the profession, but there is some stereotype there. And we talked about this at lunch the other day, is you really, when you think of an attorney, you kind of see sort of a stoic,
yes,
gentleman,
older white guy.
yes, thank you. And very insurance, same thing when you think of insurance.
Yes.
In some professions, you really do. Your head goes into that mode. Although there are attorneys of all types of different types of practices, and certainly women have been attorneys for many, many years and have had, have taken, I think, from a law standpoint, I think women have made big, huge strides in that industry.
Definitely.
Compared to IT.
Yes, we're still bringing up the rear on that one.
We are. They're still trying to get more and more women to get into the engineering schools, to become IT managers, and there are women interested in that, but it's still predominantly male. And so I would say, from the law and the practice of law, that there are diverse types of attorneys. But when you think in your head of an attorney, a lawyer, it always comes to this, like you said, an older gentleman who is sitting behind this huge desk and doesn't have to move around much because all the business comes to him. And that's not true. You just told us that is not true. You're out and about in the community. You're on a board in your community, and you're doing that because you have a business.
Yes. I love people. I love learning about people. I like to know what makes them tick, how they got to where they are at, where they want to go, what their dreams are, what their families are like. I just really like people, and I think that's what makes the difference. It's because I don't want to sit in an office all day and, type away at my computer. I want to see people and interact with them and help them and guide them and, be a voice for them, not just a guy that signs a paper. I'm regularly the youngest by a couple generations, and the only female in a room when it comes to attorney functions. But that's okay, because I'm still aggressive. I still get my job done, and I have a good time doing it.
Well, again, great segue, because I would think emotional intelligence and being emotionally tough,
yes,
and strong is a real important piece to being an attorney,
yes,
these days, especially if you own your own practice. So I have an article, and it says, "Ladies, listen up: 10 things emotionally strong women do," and this was written by Laura Argentar in Women. It's I guess Women Magazine. So we're going to start with number 10. They don't give in to fear. The fundamental quality of an emotionally strong woman is one that for all 4 women named, fearlessness. So there was a little bit of a precursor to this article, but not giving in to fear. Give me some thoughts on that. Do you find that that's a true statement, that emotionally strong women don't give in to fear?
I absolutely don't give in to fear. I am scared of a lot of things on a daily basis. I'm scared I'll completely fail. I'm scared I'll go into the court and the judge will laugh at me and say I'm just being stupid. I need to go home. But that doesn't stop me. I put on my brave face, and I just go and do it. And then the more I do it, the easier it gets. And that's, with anything in my life. Relationships, when I was younger, it was hard for me to commit to relationships, but you just do it, and you just forget the fear, breathe through it, meditate, do what you need to, have a cocktail, and just get it done.
or warm tea, or
warm
whatever calms you down. Yeah, I like my white wine, so I'll take that. I agree. I think that getting through law school, I would think, was a pretty scary endeavor, regardless of your IQ level. Like you said, you probably are minority in your law school courses.
Well, actually, that's interesting. No, it's generally 50-50 in law school, and then it drops off later. A lot of women drop out of the practice later on. But in law school, it is, especially at Baylor, it's very scary. Your third year, you have this practice court program, and there are 2 professors that are extremely mean, and they're mean on purpose. And so they give you maybe 100 pages to read the night before, and you have to know everything about all the cases that you're required to read. And they'll call on you, make you stand up, and you answer every single question. And if you don't get that question right, they boot you out of the class. And so you have to have read everything, you have to have understood everything, and if you don't get it right, you're publicly shamed on out the door. So there's a lot of fear with that too, and you just do it.
I think that's great. No, that's a great story, because really, number 9, if you'll read number 9 for me, don't read it verbatim, but just help us with the top part.
Okay. They don't crumble at rejection or criticism. And they're resilient, especially for women who are entrepreneurial in nature. They work is valuable, and they take all types of criticism. And I have to agree with that. For me, the criticism is the way I get better. Someone says, hey, I think you're a little aggressive, or you talk too fast, which is probably my biggest complaint. Then I try to make efforts to correct it. That way I'm always striving to be a better person.
Right. Well, it takes kick butt women to mentor future kick butt women.
Absolutely.
And that's not exactly how it was phrased in the article, but really, I mean, you have to be able to say, okay, are they attacking me? You just described a scenario that would make people like run and cry in fetal position, being in front of a professor who is out.
And 100 students.
And 100 students who's out to, their sole job is to make you feel, badly.
Yeah.
And then, so not giving into that, because in your mind, you have to put that into perspective. Yep, they were critical. Yes, I was rejected. Maybe I could have, stayed up another 2 hours and studied more. But to be able to absorb that and not take it personally.
99% of criticism isn't about you, and that's what you have to learn in order to get through it, is that, it's either to help you, make you better, or it's something that person's dealing with on their own, and it's up to you to make the decision of whether you accept their information or you reject it.
Right. Well, and number 8, they aren't afraid to look to others for help. Being strong and independent doesn't mean you have to exclusively rely on yourself. Surrounding yourself with valuable people eases the burden of personal and work-related challenges. Well, I know you know something about this because you have a wonderful team.
I do, and I hire for the personality a lot more than I hire for what their background is, because we need a good, smart group of people that get along and can work together and provide a resource for one another. And it's just like men asking for directions. It's best to stop and ask for directions. We were at the Colonial this weekend, and I'm not familiar with the golf course, and there's 18 holes, and I had to get to one skybox all the way down, and I stopped and asked maybe 5 different attendants, which way do I go? But I got there, and I got there pretty quick. So it's definitely good to stop and ask for help whenever you need it, no matter what the situation.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And I think as strong women, sometimes we're put in situations, whether it's, a tough marriage or if you had a tough life, childhood, you tend to lean on yourself because you lose trust in others. And as you grow older, and I've learned this, it really is a matter of just being a little bit wiser and finding those people that you can trust and go to for help. That, to me, when I give help, it's unconditional. If you never want to talk to me again when I gave you my help, I'm good. We're solid. So. But again, it took me some time to figure that out, and I think it takes people time to look for help.
Yes, definitely.
All right, number 7, read that for us.
Number 7, they don't shy away from letting people know how valuable they are. Emotionally strong women first and foremost believe in themselves. Absolutely true. And if you look at all 4 women, one characteristic they all have in common is self-confidence. And self-assurance isn't just about focusing the attention on yourself, however. As Susan Feldman shares, being sure of yourself gives you the strength to be supportive of others, and it also puts you in the right frame of mind to welcome constructive criticism so that you can continue to improve and grow. And I do have something to say about this.
Absolutely.
I have a lot to say today.
Just keep talking.
Keep talking. In the legal profession, you find a lot of women adversarial against each other because they think they need to be the one and only. So there's so few women in the legal profession that they want to be the best, the one woman that everybody thinks of, and I think that's the wrong approach to take. There are plenty of male attorneys out there that are successful in their business, and I think there can be just as many women who are successful in their business, and going against each other and being adversarial with one another is just the wrong approach to take. And I take that approach with, all of my opposing parties, and it's just really good to try to get along with everyone and let them know, hey, I really appreciated that piece of information. That really helps me make my decision a little easier. And that especially goes for my team. I make sure to let them know if they do a good job. And even sometimes I don't. Sorry, Kelly Stoddard. You do a great job. I don't always tell them, but I try to remember to let them know and appreciate everything that they do.
Give a shout out to your team. What's your team's names?
Okay, I got Kelly Stoddard. She's my secretary. I got Chris Jones. She's my elder law attorney. Lisa Hart is a family law attorney, and Kelly Bozeman is my right-hand lady, paralegal and HR person, and then my husband is the accountant, Tim. So shout out to Tim.
Awesome. So you're surrounded by a great team of people that care about you and the practice.
They're such warm and caring people, and I'm so lucky to have such a great team that I can pull together and help the community.
Right. Well, we're going to stop here and give you a couple minutes to tell us the story about the practice. How did you get into the practice? Because typically you go to a law firm out of
and I did. I went to a medical malpractice defense law firm. It was a great firm for getting started, but it was not a great work environment for me. Some people like it. And then I was found by a headhunter and went to a medical device litigation defense firm. And so I was defending medical devices like implants, pain pumps, things like that. And if they malfunctioned and people were injured, I was on the defense side. So that didn't really work for me either. And then I worked as in-house counsel for an insurance company. So I defended car accident cases. And so that didn't work for me. And I got pregnant and had a very tough pregnancy. I was on bed rest for 6 months and surgery in the middle of it and all sorts of bad things. I couldn't eat. I mean, just call me Kate Middleton. I was throwing up every 5 minutes. It was awful.
Pregnancy can be tough.
I actually made my goal weight during pregnancy. So, and then it wasn't a good fit for a family working at an insurance working with an insurance company for another law firm. So I stepped back. I had to stay home with her for 6 months because she was premature. So I stayed home with her. Then I was ready to get back. I had a part-time job. It was a general practice firm, so I was able to get my feet wet again and get my foot back in the door in the legal practice and pick up some different areas that I was comfortable with. And then I was like, if this guy can do it, I can do it. And so I started with one room and a Google phone number.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had a partner who kind of helped me a little bit along the way. She eventually went a different direction, but we started just with one room and a phone number and just kept building and putting the money right back into the business. And now it's really successful, and we're growing and looking to add, and I'm just super excited how well it's done.
Right. Well, they do describe you as on fire right now.
I'm on fire all the time. My life has been on fire ever since I realized. So I had a very tough childhood, and it was difficult for me to trust other people, and it was difficult for me to let friends in. And eventually I had an idea in my head of what I wanted my life to look like. And I'm embarrassed to say it was like Ally McBeal.
I love that show. Which,
It was like Ally McBeal and Elle Woods, and Sarah was wanting to be this attorney, and I wanted to live in a high-rise condo, and I wanted to drive a fancy car, and so I got all those things. And I still wasn't happy, and I'm like, what in the world?
Right.
What am I supposed to do now? And so I just started radically changing everything until it fit, And so now I live on like 3 acres of farmish land, like we call it farmette. It's tiny, but it's still like we got a barn and all sorts of stuff. And I have my own firm. I work 8:30 to 5 unless there's a trial. I surround myself with positive people, and I just try to put out into the world what I want to get back.
Well, that is a sure way to success, and it takes people a lot longer than your young age to figure that out. So good for you. Certainly there's some glamour to come with, well, I'm an attorney, I'm a lawyer.
You would think. Student loans also come with that?
That is not glamorous. No, I have children going through that process right now. In fact, we are too. I mean, my husband's student loans, we're still paying on those, but there's there's a bonus or a price to pay for the education that we gain, and sometimes those are in student loans, and sometimes it's giving up a lot of things for the first few years trying to get your bearings.
Absolutely. I gave up a lot. It was my sole focus to get to the end of that degree. So I committed. Once I commit to something, I commit to it. So I committed to it all the way to the end, while other people were going to Cabo and touring Europe. I was not. I was going to school. I was focusing on work. I finished law school in 2 years and 3 months.
Wow.
And I had a double major in undergrad. I finished just focus all the way through until I'm here.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, we're going to read through these together. Here's number 6. They don't back down from challenges. Starting at a young age, women are socialized to stay on the sidelines and act passively. We're taught to wait to be invited instead of stepping up and joining in. Now, I will tell you that I like that. One of the books, I listen to audiobooks, and my listeners, you're listening to Real Life DFW on Fishbowl Radio Network. This is Heidi Hardy with our special guest in the studio, Brandy Austin. And we're talking about Brandy. We're talking about being a woman in this world and doing what you have to do to find the life you want to live.
Absolutely.
And I love that because I believe we build our own abundance. We create our own abundance. And I tell that to my daughter and my sons, and it is just part of the way we live. And one book that I read was Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great book. I mean, I think it was really geared toward the younger generation that are up-and-coming women trying to figure out how to get into their career, right? What place do they have around the table? But it was a great book from a woman who leaned in. I mean, how much more leaning in can you possibly do than Sheryl Sandberg? So Sheryl Sandberg is the CEO of Facebook, I believe.
Yahoo? I forget.
Okay, well,
one of the.
We'll look her. Yeah. I have her book right here. But she wrote this book. It was sort of a big controversial thing. You know, should women think this way? There's always somebody who's critiquing when there's a strong woman out there, and so I felt like, okay, I'm going to read this book and I'm going to find out, you know, is it a great book? And it really was. It was a good story. She talks about her life and her family, and so I enjoyed it a lot.
I'll have to disagree with you a little bit.
Oh, you didn't like it? Did you read it?
I bought it. I read the first couple of pages, and I thought it was not what I wanted to hear.
Okay.
So I put it down.
I love it that you're arguing with me. So tell me why.
I wish I could. I can't remember because I literally read the first couple of pages. I thought she was just full of it, and I put it down. I can't. I just left it out of my head after that. But it was not. Her theory of leaning in was not what I wanted my life to look like.
Okay, so what is your theory? And we really only have about 5 minutes, but so maybe that's what we're going to lead into with the new hour, is your theory of what leaning in is. I love it. I love it. Go ahead and read the next one.
Okay. They don't compare themselves to others. Be your own inspiration. And I can say that's absolutely true as well. I think this list is actually pretty good. I don't compare myself to others. Sometimes I do catch myself comparing this or that like every other person, but I do analyze how other people do things, pick what fits best for my personality, and then make my own version. So I don't compare necessarily, but I do analyze, extract it, and then make it my own.
So comparing yourself to other women
or men,
other people, you're right. You're absolutely right. I think there's a positive way to do that and a negative way to do that.
Right.
You know, I think you can look at someone and admire their accomplishments and who they are.
Yes.
And then emulate them because it inspires you. That's one way. And I don't think that's the way they're talking about this here. You know, like you said.
Yeah.
Trying to stay emotionally strong by tweaking it for your own personal style.
You shouldn't care if somebody else has a Mercedes and you don't. That absolutely, you don't know what she or he had to do to get that car.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody's story is different. So here's the last few. I'm going to read two and then I'll let you read the last two. They don't measure their self-worth by other people's opinion. And I think that goes right back to that, the last
Absolutely.
one. They don't compare themselves to
Right.
others. Emotionally strong women don't care about what people think because they are making their lives on their own terms. I love that. Number 3, they don't get wrapped up in anger or resentment. Being an emotionally strong woman can quite literally mean not letting your emotions get the best of you. Instead, practice remaining level-headed. We had a show a couple of weeks ago about emotional intelligence. And what is that? Mm-hmm. And it really is just being able to measure and monitor your own emotions and the emotions of people around you. And so emotional intelligence, I've worked on that for many years, and I find it very, very interesting.
Okay, so number 2 is they don't lose their passion. Being emotionally strong doesn't mean you should totally be devoid of emotion. Absolutely. And passion comes in many different forms, and passion can change over time. Just because you're passionate for one thing at 25 doesn't mean you're going to be passionate about it at 35. And it's important to understand that that's okay. Life changes. You can change. It's important to adapt.
It is. It really is. And you're right. Go ahead and read.
Number 1 is absolutely my favorite. They don't hold back. You just go for full force, and you just go, whatever works. Whatever doesn't, you know what? That's a learning experience, and you take that and you move on.
And that I think encapsulates you. You went to law school, you built your business, you looked at somebody and you said, "Hey, I can do this."
Yes.
I love that part of your story. And then and here you are. How many years later? How many years have you been in business?
I've owned my own practice for 2 years, and I've been an attorney since November of 2008.
Okay. So 7 years?
Yes.
7 years. You climbed your way through a lot of different experiences, and I like your sidebar note that it's okay to change.
Yes.
It's okay to not be passionate about the same thing that you were when
Absolutely.
you were 25. And I find that your undergrad, your creative writing, that's such a contradiction or...
I was a screenwriter, and I actually wrote, I do have a screenplay, and one day in retirement, maybe I'll go back to screenwriting because I love movies, I love the story, and I love the development of them. So, yeah.
So you would be great at Real Life DFW Radio because you like to get that story out of people.
Absolutely. It all kind of wraps up. I love people and their stories and the psychology of it and just getting to know someone. So it's all intertwined.
Yeah. Well, we're going to tease the listeners. You're listening to Real Life DFW on Fishbowl Radio Network, and this is Heidi Hardy, your host. We are with Brandy Austin, and Brandy Austin is she's got the world in her hands, and we've been talking about how she's gotten started and how she was inspired and motivated to do what she does today. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's a business owner. She's a cook.
I do that.
She is an attorney, and she's here locally, and she's very compassionate and a really great example of somebody who's really taken life by the horns and run with it. So, and I think those are like two different analogies, taking life by the horns. But back to Sheryl Sandberg she's the COO of Facebook.
Okay.
And I do we'll come back to this, but you mentioned a couple things. One is, and as much as you'd like to share, you said you had a tough childhood. So we'll talk a little bit about that in the second hour.
Okay.
And because I think from my story, it is so important that people don't get stuck in their story from the past.
Right.
Don't get stuck there. It's over. Let's go, And I'm not minimizing people's pain and their stories, but it's a part of that personal growth and process. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then we'll also talk about where you're headed. What's in the future for Brandy Austin, and all that is going to happen right after this break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Heidi Hardy, your host of Real Life DFW on Fishbowl Radio Network, and we are broadcasting live from Arlington, Texas. Our show today is called It's a Woman's World with Brandy Austin. Hello, Brandy. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that first hour just zoomed by.
It really did.
I know. And so Brandy and I are talking about strong women and what do strong women do, and we had some tips at the first hour about emotionally strong women and what they do. This second hour we're going to talk to Brandy a little bit more about her story, and she's going to share with us some things that she finds would help someone who might be thinking, you know what, I could never be an attorney, or I could never go to college and accomplish that because of ABC in my life. Brandy's going to help us get past that because that's something that she's done in her life. And we're also going to talk a little bit about her practice and where she's headed. She's a woman on fire for sure. So thank you for joining us again. This show is brought to you by Zethernet. Zethernet is a managed services, infrastructure as a service, internet and voice provider. If you would like to sit down with someone and talk about your IT needs, you can call 214-269-8316. That's 214-269-8316. And we'll be happy to sit down and talk to any business owner who just might want some great advice or really want to look for a solution for their business. Okay, Brandy, we are back to you and your really great resume here. I mean, you're an amazing woman. You're a mom, you're a wife, you're a business owner, you're an attorney. And I put them in that order, but I'm not sure. I mean, obviously being a wife and a mother are the first things in your life.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I make sure to be everything that I can, especially for my daughter. If she has She's 2.5, so they have like craft things that happen on occasion. Nothing, of importance, but it's important to her, so it's important to me.
Absolutely.
So I make sure to be there.
Yeah, well, it's tough. One of the things we talked about on the break that was really kind of fun was we talked about Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. And yes, she's the COO of Facebook, which is a big job for sure, because, again, women in IT, there's very few of them. And then from a leadership standpoint, in that C-suite, it's very, very few. It's a very elite group. But one of the things that you said that I love, you said, you know what, I didn't like that book. Tell us why you didn't like that book, because I think we kind of discovered a little bit what rubbed you the wrong way about Sheryl.
I think she said that you had to have a staff of people to help you, a nanny. You had to have a couple of nannies, a cook, a housekeeper, all these people to support you in your personal life to allow you to lean in at work. And I think that approach is wrong, personally. I don't want to miss a minute of my daughter's life, and although I would like a housekeeper,
Tim, if you're listening,
I don't want to miss a minute of my daughter's life. So I would delegate and I do delegate tasks to other people. If there's a hearing or something that is going on at a time when my daughter has something that I need to be at, well, somebody else is going to go to that hearing. And I think that, I realize that it gets a little different when you get to higher executive levels. But there's always someone you can partner with to help cover for some of these things. And she had to go here and go there. Well, take your kid with you. Take your kid with you. Just always prioritize your in my opinion, prioritize your family first. You can still lean in. You can still climb to the top. You may be up a little later at night doing your work, but, you don't need 10 nannies to do your job.
I find that very, very interesting, because at the end of the day, one of the things that I would agree with you on in the book, and I don't remember that part of the book particularly, but is that we're not really. She's not being realistic when she says you need a nanny and you need a chef and you need a bunch of people. So we do have a caller, and I would like to go ahead and take a quick break to get this call. Hello, caller. Who am I talking to? This is Heidi Hardy with Real Life DFW.
Well, my name is Tim. I've been pretty familiar with Brandy's story because I'm her husband. I got to walk the road with her a little bit, so to say.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for calling in. So she's bright pink. So you still have that effect on her. What would you like to share with us about Brandy Austin?
Well, it's been exciting. I tuned in through the app on my phone so I could listen. My wife is famous now. She's been on the radio. I wanted to be a part of her rise to fame so she wouldn't forget me when she's at the top.
I'm sure she won't. You sound like a real charming guy. So
it's really, like I said, we've not been married relatively speaking a terribly long time, but we've had a lot happen in our marriage so far. Life events have been going on around us, and I still couldn't help but just grin listening, because I was there through the whole story. I've been through, shortly after law school we met, and it's still exciting to relive it, get to hear it all, and it's fun to hear the story, and to her being everything to everyone, you mentioned that a little bit ago, she has been. She's a great mom, and she makes sure that when work time is done and it's family time, that she's there with the family, and it's just so much fun to see her balance everything all together and be everything to everyone, literally. At home, at work. She runs the show at work, and I won't admit it publicly, but maybe she kind of runs the show at home.
Just a little bit.
It takes a real life man to admit that, Tim. That's awesome. No, I have to say, and my husband listens to the show when he can, but he would admit that too. I'm a little bossy.
And that's my baby in the background, I think.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I'm baby wrangling our child and Brandy's paralegal's child, because they both go to school together and they've got the week off. So I volunteered. I've got more gray hair because of it.
Yeah, well, everybody at the firm, it's a team effort. So Kelly needed child care, and my husband stepped up, and they're having a blast together.
Well, thank you. Thank you for calling in, Tim. We really appreciate it. I think it says a lot about someone when their spouse can also walk down that same path with them and have the same pride. I can hear it in your voice. I can almost envision the two of you doing that together. So her successes are your successes, and her challenges have been your challenges. So congratulations to both of you for having such a strong marriage and relationship. And every day, right? You learn something.
Yes.
I've been married. This is my 10th year with my husband, and we are every single day grateful for even some of the hard times. But I do appreciate that you called in to give her some moral support.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me, and keep up the good work, Brandy.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Wow, I'm so glad he called, so you guys got an opportunity to hear from him.
Well, he does sound like a real support system.
I couldn't do it without him.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's important. When you're a woman on fire, or you're a woman with a mission. We did have a guest, and the topic was called "A Woman on a Mission," and she had the same sort of fire and passion. She has a nonprofit that she's trying to kick off the ground, and so I'm not going to say that you're a woman on a mission as much as you're a woman who knows what you're doing and you envision where you're going. So let's go there. Let's go with today. You have a practice. You said something about growing. The other day when we were at lunch, you said, so I have this big vision. Tell us about that vision.
Well, I do have a big vision. I would like to be a much bigger law firm, on top of several other things. So as far as the law firm is concerned, I would like to provide a place for women and men who are family-oriented to have a place to work, to know that 5 o'clock is 5 o'clock. Unless you can't get all your stuff done in the regular time, you can go home and be with your family at 5 o'clock. And I'd also like to be known throughout the state of Texas as a law firm where if you want someone to help support you through your problems, that I'm the place to go to. There are a lot of strong arms and the hammers out there, but no one that's really going to sit with you and explain the process and help you through it. And that's really what our goal as a law firm is. And I'd like to have several offices in several different areas. Right now we're growing this one. We have 3 attorneys here. We're looking to add one probably in August, November time. And then after that comes Austin. We're going to open a branch in Austin, Texas, I believe. So we're super excited about that. And then just keep going from there.
Wow.
Texas is a big state.
It is. Well, Brandy Austin's going to take it by storm, I can tell already.
Absolutely.
Well, for those of you who are just clicking into the show, this is Heidi Hardy, and I am your host of Real Life DFW. Real Life DFW is about real people and their stories of triumph and challenge and how they can connect us to our own dreams and motivate us to keep moving forward. Brandy Austin is a local business owner. We've met through networking, and it's so, as I listen to my shows, Brandy, I do record the shows and I do put them on podcasts. And so this show will be on podcast. So please share it with your family and friends. But as I do that, I started realizing that I meet almost everyone that's been on my show through some sort of business-related relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And so back to being a compassionate but, aggressive businesswoman.
Yes.
You really, your integrity, your drive, all those things are so critical to your personal brand and who you are.
Absolutely.
And taking that brand with you. And so I was fortunate enough to meet Brandy, and we hit it off, and we had lunch, and I got to know her a little bit better, and I just knew she'd be not just a great guest on the show with her story, but also possibly, future co-host or future other endeavors together, because I think we were having fun here.
I absolutely adore you. When I first met you, you had such an energy about you, and I like to connect with people who have a positive energy. And I went back to the office and I said, "That Heidi, that's a lady." And every time I hear your name or they talk about you at the office, I'm like, I just love her. I just love her energy. I think she's doing so many good things, and people just don't understand it. she's somebody to watch.
Oh, wow. Wow. I got a little beklept on that because thank you.
It's true.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's a huge compliment, especially coming from you, because you are such a wonderful person yourself, and you have a lot of things going on, and so to be able to recognize somebody, I really do appreciate that. For those listeners who weren't with us for the first hour, let me tell you a little bit about Brandy. Brandy is the founding member of her firm, and it's called Brandy Austin Law.
Brandy Austin Law Firm.
Law firm.
PLLC.
Okay. Gotta get those letters in. I hear you. So if somebody wanted to call you for any reason, whether it's you need your help from a legal standpoint or even advice, how would they get in touch with you?
Well, that's great. So we focus our practice on personal injury, family law, elder law, small business law, usually under 100 employees, wills and probate. And those are the areas that we practice. But even if you need help in an area that we don't practice, we have a great referral network set up of people that we've met with and been in contact with and referred cases back and forth to each other. And we know that they take good care of you. So you can either give us a call at 817-841-9906 or go to our website, www.brandyaustinlaw.com.
Awesome. We'll repeat that later in the show as well, because I do want people to know, not just, again, through this live recording, but through our podcasting, that they can reach out to you.
Absolutely.
And it's so funny to me, internet radio is global. So people all over the world can hear us. But we focus really here locally in the Arlington, Dallas-Fort Worth area. And your practice is in Arlington, Texas.
Yes.
Yes. And you have a beautiful practice office. It's I say beautiful. I walked in, and you can feel the spirit of the office when you walk into somebody's office. I felt warm and welcoming, a welcoming environment. I didn't feel like there was a lot of stress, and sometimes there's an uneasy feeling in offices, and that wasn't the case in your
Well, we
office.
do that on purpose. I searched high and low for an office, and luckily I found Laura Bergen, who is the owner of the building, and she had similar tastes. And so we have tile floors, high ceilings, so it feels more like a home when you walk in. And then on top of that, we add regular furniture. So there's no office-type desks. All of our desks and furniture come from places like Crate and Barrel or Pottery Barn, things that you find in your home. And then we just adapt them for the legal practice. So it really does. We have carpets that you would put in your house. The whole thing feels like walking into someone's home, and that's on purpose because we want you to feel comfortable, like you can share your story with us, and so we can get the full and complete story so we can help you in the best way that we can.
Well, I would definitely going to, at the last 15 minutes or so of the show, I would like to talk to you about the different types of law that you practice and the kind of people that you would be helping. But let's talk a little bit more about, you had said one of the things that we went to the first hour is you are strong you have to be strong to finish law school.
Yes.
You have to have emotional intelligence and emotional strength. You said earlier, I had a tough childhood, and to your comfort level of sharing, tell us about that and tell us how you overcame that.
Okay. Well, so my parents weren't very good people, neither one of them. I've had to deal a lot with sociopaths in my life and the consequences thereof. So let's just say there was a lot of abuse in many different ways. And as I grew up, I started to realize what that meant. When I got to high school, I was kind of a hot mess, as you would say. Mm-hmm. Had no direction. Just knew that, I kind of grew up. The only parenting I had was television, hence the Ally McBeal, which was about that time frame. So I just picked somebody. It happened to be her because she was popular, along with the Green Bay Packers at the time, I think. I picked her, and I just focused on it. I just put that as a goal. And so if you're sitting out there and you have like a really bad situation, just pick something and focus on it and just do everything you can to get to that spot. And I just no matter what happened in my life emotionally, and I wasn't very emotionally smart for a very long time, and I still struggle with it, but therapy is a wonderful thing.
It is. It is.
So I went through some therapy and was able to come to terms with where the family that I had, and then move on from it. I have 2 family members that I really count on now, and that's my sister Kelly and my aunt Peggy. I can turn to them for anything, but I really don't have anyone else. So learning to depend on myself and learning to create a family out of non-related people really helped, because now I can find, I have people that I can count on. So I think it's just focus, learning how to focus on something other than what your current situation looks like. If you are living in a roach-infested, bad neighborhood, and just pick something, and step by step by step, just little steps. If say you can't leave your house, just take 1 step out the door, then come back in.
Yeah.
Then take 2 steps the next day, and go back in. That's all. It's easier said than done, but just learning to accept that you can't change those things, but you can make a difference in the future.
You can change you.
You can change you.
And how you look at it.
Absolutely.
That's a very touching and relatable story. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that, again, one of the things that I enjoy about this show and being able to talk to people is knowing that there are people with the same struggles that we have had. And I grew up in a family, listeners hear me say this probably every week, that it applies, but my father is an alcoholic, and there was a lot of abuse in the household, and there was always this feeling that I never knew what was going to happen next. And children that grow up in that environment, there's a post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Absolutely.
And you don't know as you're growing, whether it's your preteens or your teens or even past your teens, that it's not you, it's your environment that you were subjected to.
And PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is very difficult to recognize. People often misdiagnose bipolar disorder, depression, all sorts of things for PTSD. And that's why therapy is important, because the medications that people take sometimes for depression and bipolar are not the medications that you need to take for PTSD. Sometimes you don't even need medication on PTSD. And if you have the appropriate therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever you need, that can really dig in and figure out what's going on, then you may be able to solve the problem in a different way. And so that's why I think it's really important for people that are struggling with those sorts of pasts, who feel like they're kind of stuck in a rut. They can go and get some help and talk to somebody to really analyze what it is, because you don't want to take lithium, which is for bipolar disorder, which will sometimes put you in a catatonic state for days on end, when you could just take something, meditation or Tai Chi or yoga, and help relieve some of the stress that comes from PTSD, because it's just fear that comes up, and dealing with that fear and anxiety.
That's so true, and it's great advice. I know, again, that I felt alone for a long time, and one of the things that I do, we've had several shows that do bring out the reality of domestic violence, the reality of abuse, the things that we can do today, now that I'm not living in that, right? I like you, and I'm so proud of you, because you said something that I thought was very poignant, and that is, I'm building a family without it being, necessarily family members.
Right.
Family is different for everybody.
Every single person.
Right. And so if you can embrace people for who they are and what they are, I think sometimes, then you're opening the door to many opportunities for people that can inspire you and love you. That was hard for me. It took me a long time to allow people to love me, and I have to say today I'm one of the most blessed and grateful people. Obviously I can't compare myself to others, but I know personally that I feel more blessed and more grateful than I have my entire life. And it's just that first step at the door. Like you said, it was a tiny step. I got back. And I had counseling, and one of the things that I'd like to have you back on the show and to help me with is maybe we can get some guests here to talk about what are those? What are those first steps if people are in that situation? You mentioned earlier in the first half of the show that you practice family law because you noticed that people were struggling through legal aid in your university, and that motivated you to want to help people.
Absolutely.
So, what about family law and your your experience in your life have you seen? Have you been? Is it making a difference? Is that the driving factor for you? Is I'm going to make a difference in individuals' lives?
Yes, and I have a story. One of my earlier clients in the law firm, she came in and she was a disaster. She was crying. She didn't know if she wanted this, and her soon-to-be ex-husband was quite aggressive. He hired a very expensive, aggressive attorney, and she couldn't afford a very aggressive, expensive attorney. So she got a very aggressive, cheap attorney. But she was down. She was really down. She didn't know how her kids were gonna take it. And so we just kind of worked through it together. We sat down, we made a plan that worked. She was able to email and call and ask questions regularly. And at the end, just to see her kind of back to a better self, it was so rewarding for me. She, does yoga. She, is happy with the arrangement that everybody agreed to. She's able to move on with her life, and that's the part that I really like. I like to get them through the stressful part onto the other side when they're happy and excited and ready to move on.
Yeah. And this is not exclusively for women. I think sometimes, don't get me wrong, I'm all about girl power, and I do want women to be motivated, and I want them to be emotionally strong. I would love for this show to reach even one woman that maybe feels more inspired and more motivated. But at the end of the day, men and women have stressful things in their lives. I know in our family, it's my sister, my brother, and myself. I'm the middle child, and he's the youngest. And he handled the stress of the abuse differently.
Mm-hmm.
So part of being an attorney is to be able to recognize the different needs of your clients in their different situations. Absolutely.
And recognizing how they need to be walked through it. Not to exclude men, I did have a male client, and he really wanted to fight for custody of his child. Turned out his child was being abused. So we were able to get that child out of the situation and make sure that nothing happens to him again. So, but men and women come in and they're different. Men come in mad and angry and aggressive and ready to tear down walls to get what they want. And women come in many times when it comes to family law broken and not sure of how to move forward. And we kind of are able to take both of those and walk them through the best way possible, calm some of them down, and then lift some of them up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's pretty amazing. And like I said, I wish I would have known you several years ago. I am going to stop for a moment, and we're going to answer this call and see who's giving us a call. Hello, caller. This is Heidi Hardy. How can we help you today?
I was wanting to comment on your program today with Brandy Austin.
Wonderful. Who are we talking to?
My name is Peggy Ordog. I am Brandy's aunt.
Well, Brandy has a loving support system, I can tell. So, Peggy, tell us a little bit about Brandy, or just go ahead and make your comments and let us know what you want to share.
I just wanted to say I've been listening to your program since the beginning, and I am just, I'm always amazed by her, and I am her biggest cheerleader. I'm behind her 100% in whatever she does, and words can't say how proud I am of her. And what she speaks is her truth. She lives the life that she is saying that she does, and if I ever need help, I'll be calling her, except I'm in North Carolina, so a little ways away. But that's the only sad thing. But thank goodness for FaceTime and all of that today, so we can all keep up with her here. But no, I've known her since she was born, and I am her biggest cheerleader.
And she is right. Even when I want to do the craziest things, like stop everything and become a record producer, she's like, well, you know what? If that's what you want to do, then we can support you through it. Luckily, I did not do that, but there was a time.
Well, that goes to trial and error. Like she said, you've got to push on to find your passion, and I believe she's found it. And when you find your passion and that's your work, then it's not work. We all have to make a living, and if we're lucky, we'll find that niche that is not work. It's just what we love to do.
Well, Peggy, her face lights up when she starts talking about the practice and what she does and what she's passionate about. So it's contagious.
Yes, it is. But I am just very proud of her, and I know she already has and is going to big places. And I think people can put their full faith in her when they come to her and believe what she says.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for calling in and giving her some moral support. And there's a little bit of nervousness that comes with being on the radio, but she's done so well, and so we're definitely having a good time here.
She's done extremely well. I didn't know she was that articulate. She should be a radio host. You might be right.
Well, we'll work on her. We'll definitely work on her.
Okay.
Well, thank you again, Peggy. Thank you for calling in.
Oh, thank you for listening.
All right. That was Peggy. What's Peggy's last name?
Ordog.
Ordog?
Ordog. I know, right? Ordog.
Okay. Well, that's an awesome last name, actually. And she is your aunt, and she's one of those people that you go to when you need some support.
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. And she's been listening to the show. So you know what? That's what the show is also, is an opportunity for your family to sort of walk through those steps with you. And it's so funny because I think as I tell my story a little bit at a time over and over again, my family connects with me even more every single time. So I'm so excited that you have them and they're listening.
Yeah, and I can see how that happens because I do share a little bit about how I feel about certain topics that I may not discuss with family or friends, and I think this is a great way for people to get to know you better.
Yeah. Well, it is time for our break, and then we'll come right back to learn more about Brandy. We have had a fantastic show. Our show airs live every Wednesday from 3 to 5 p.m., and you can always listen to our show by going to www.fbrn.us and clicking on the blue bowl. That is Fishbowl Radio Network's website, or I made it a little bit easier. We go straight to my website, which is www.reallifedfw.com, and there's a big red button that says Easy Button. We have our caller calling in, and I believe this is our patio review caller. Hello, caller. This is Heidi Hardy. Who am I talking to?
Hi, this is Kelly Bozeman.
Absolutely. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Hi, Hardy.
Hi. Well, thank you for calling in, and I'm imagining that you're calling to give Brandy some moral support.
I am, but I'm not calling just as an employee. I wanted to call in as her friend.
Oh, well, she's amazing. She's done a great job. So take it away, Kelly. Tell us.
Well, I just wanted to say that this has been one of the best years of my life, getting to know Brandy. I've been working here since June of last year. And not only has she been a great employer, she has been an amazing friend, someone who inspires me, motivates me to be a better person. And I just wanted to say how thankful I really am.
Aw, you're welcome.
That is very cool. That it's rare that we get to say those things to our, I guess, our boss or the person that works with us. And so good for you. Thank you so much for calling in and giving her that moral support. So I hear you guys have a wonderful practice. And Kelly, what law are you practicing there?
I'm a paralegal, and I handle the personal injury files.
Okay. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for calling in. And we're coming to the end of the show, so we're going to let you go unless you want to share anything else.
No, great job, Brandy, and great job, Heidi. You guys are doing amazing.
Oh,
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, we have some more callers. This is Heidi Hardy, and you're on Real Life DFW. How can I help you?
This is Diana.
Hi, Diana. And
Hi.
you are calling in to do Real Life Patio Talk. So I've missed it. We've missed it for the last few weeks. So I have to give you a new introduction. My sister and I, we love being outdoors in the summer and springtime and drinking a cold beverage, whether it's iced tea or margarita, and live music and just doing the outdoor thing. And so selfishly, we both were like, ha, we got the radio show. Let's go around Dallas-Fort Worth and find a way to bring our experience to the listeners. So this is Diana's segment. I'm so proud of her. She's done a great job. So Diana, take it away. I'm not going to talk anymore. You tell us all about the last patio review.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. On May 16th, which was Saturday, it was a Saturday, not last Saturday, but the Saturday before, my husband and I visited the Hofbrau patio.
I think I accidentally hung up on Diana. I hope she calls back. I know. I'm sorry, Diana. We do have another caller on the line. Is this, tell me who this is. This is Heidi Hardy.
This is Sean Reckmeyer.
Hi, Sean. We're going to put you on hold for just a moment, okay? We had another caller in, and we can't wait to hear your segment as well, but we're going to put you on hold just a moment.
Okay.
Thanks. Well, silence on the radio is never a good thing.
No.
But we're trying to navigate through a couple of calls, and I hope Diana does get a chance to call back. But what we'll do is we'll go straight to Sean's segment. Yes, absolutely. So, Sean, I'm going to unmute you and bring you into our segment here. Thank you for calling in, Sean. Sean and I also met, through LinkedIn, which I think is a great tool. And you're listening to Real Life DFW on Fishbowl Radio Network. This is Heidi Hardy, your host. My guest today is Brandy Austin, and we have Sean Reckmeyer on the phone. He's very passionate about what he does, and I'm going to let you, Sean, tell the listeners what it is that you're passionate about and give us sort of an introduction to Sean.
Well, I'll make sure you can hear me. I'm on my cell phone here.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfectly clear.
Right. Well, I thank you. I appreciate the introduction and the opportunity to speak. I started about 17 years ago as a financial planner, and I realized that there's a lot that job entails. I ended up kind of moving over in a certain direction, and then found health insurance was a tool that could help my clients save money in addition to the other services that I was doing. And it wasn't too long, about a year into it, that I switched full-time into the health insurance as a primary function. And I worked for an agency that really showed me how to read policies and how to get into the details of a plan versus just selling copays and deductibles from one PPO to another. So I did that for about 5 years and then broke off and started to become a broker. All the while I was working with individuals and very small businesses, mom and pop businesses. And as I've gone through the years, I've grown to learn more products and different companies, and along with all the changes, I now work with larger companies and have gotten into the group market that I hope to really save a lot more money, affect more people at one time, and do what I love to do, which is make sure people understand their insurance, get coverage and protection, at the doctor and hospital that they want to go to, and have it affordable so they can keep their insurance and use it and have it when they need it.
So, Sean, one of the things that really struck me when we talked, and again, your passion's contagious, is the Affordable Care Act is a mystery to so many people. And you're very passionate about not necessarily explaining it, because I don't know that anybody can, but really navigating with your the customers and the clients that you have, navigating through that process.
Right. Yeah, that was one of the things I thought of talking about was some of the rumors that are out there about the Affordable Care Act and the marketplace. A lot of people use the term Obamacare when they talk about the law, insurance today, and the products that are out there that folks can choose from. And I quite often laugh at that term because it's used by sometimes physicians and clients and just people passing down the street that want to talk about it when they know what I do. And I am not necessarily for or against the law. I do swing one way or the other, a little bit to the right, and I just believe that because of this law, the Affordable Care Act affects my industry and my clients so greatly, I've just decided to embrace it as much as possible and to help maximize the benefits of it and avoid the problems and the penalties of it for my clients. So, yes, I have learned the pros and cons, the do's and don'ts of this, of the marketplace and the different tools that are available to businesses as well as obviously individuals that would want to participate or look into that as an option.
Okay, so it's...
But one of the...
I'm sorry.
Ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say one of the, the biggest rumor is probably that you can use the word Obamacare and it means something. It really doesn't. I've had doctors say they don't take Obamacare. And I train agents. I hire agents at my agency, and they want to know, what that means. And I explain that everything is Obamacare. If you want to use the term, just say Obamacare, and it means insurance, because nothing is untouched by Obamacare. It's either taxed through the law, changed by the law, mandated, or forced or penalized. So there's no Obamacare-free zone in America today. Doesn't matter if you're in a red or blue state, an elephant or a donkey. It's all the same. And Texas is no different. We want to become a union, but we're not. So there are very stiff penalties for not doing it right, and there's great opportunities if you do, and that's what we try to help people realize.
I actually have a lot of clients come in who do not understand healthcare and do not have healthcare for themselves or their children because they don't know what to do. So I do think it's a big issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that we'd like to invite Sean to come back and be our segment sponsor, because I think that there's a value to getting this information to the public.
Absolutely.
We need more people who are as passionate as Sean is about this to be unbiased and talk about it as something that is a matter of fact. And and this is the best way to go about it. So, Sean, we're looking forward to getting that information from you and for you to share your knowledge with our listeners if that's something that you can do on a weekly basis.
I do. Yeah, I look forward to it as well. It's definitely something that I am passionate about, and I want to get more information out to the public and as quick as possible so that they can avoid some of the major setbacks that I've ran across other people experiencing.
Yeah, and so each week what we'd like you to do is bring some more helpful information to people like Brandy. Brandy owns, she's a small business owner here in Arlington, and I think, like you said, this is a United States thing. It's obviously it affects us in Texas and then it affects us locally, but any information that you can bring that someone would want more, how would they get in touch with you?
Well, you can reach me. The easiest number is to call the office directly. It's 817-277-9000. Or you can go to my website. I have two websites. One's under construction. The one that's available now is www.joinsean.net, and it's JOINSEAN.net.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much again for calling in, and we do look forward to the next segment where you can share some tips and some helpful information with our listeners. Sean Reckemeyer is a health insurance broker, health benefits consultant, and an ACA compliance consultant. You can reach him at 817-277-9000. And again, thank you for calling, and thank you for your passion in this. I think it's really needed.
Absolutely, and quite honestly, I would like to talk to you myself.
Well, that's great, and I appreciate it, and hope to talk to you very soon.
All right, Sean, thank you again, and we look forward to hearing more from you.
All right. Have a good day.
Well, Brandy, we are really running out of time. We are getting to the end of our show, and I did text Diana and see if she would call back. I'm not sure she's able to because she does this from work, and so
Aww.
I know. But just so that our listeners know, we are going to post our next patio palooza, and lately it's just been raining. You really can't be.
You should have a whole show with people who go to patios. I love patios. There's nothing more. I'm originally from North Carolina, and they didn't have like a whole patio setting. And when I came to Texas, it was the best thing. Just sitting on a patio, eating, having a cocktail or a green tea, whatever floats your boat. It was just so much fun.
It is, and we are fortunate. We're in a nice warm state that does allow us to do that most times of the year. So if she cannot call back, that's okay. We'll save it for next week because she does do her research. We call it research. So when are you going to research this week? And so I won't spoil the patio review that she put out, but I will say that we put this on my website, which is www.reallifedfw.com. And you can go there now and see the last 3 patio reviews that we did, and it was just a lot of fun. We've been all over the Metroplex, just tasting and enjoying the sun. When it's out, it looks like the sun's coming.
It's going away,
and the clouds are coming back. So it's been a great show. Thank you so much. We are coming down to the last couple of minutes, and I'm kind of bummed because we didn't really get into all the law practice that you do. So we definitely need for you to come back.
Absolutely.
And help us navigate through some shows that are really specific to what you do and how you help people. So again, this is Heidi Hardy, and I'm your host of Real Life GFW. Our guest today is Brandy Austin. She is a business owner, she's a wife, she's a mom, she's a niece, she's a sister, she's a great boss apparently, and
I hope so.
Those things, I think we sometimes minimize the impact we have on other people's lives.
I think we could do a whole show on impacting other people's lives and not realizing it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think as I've grown a little older every year, I start to be more cognizant of that ability. And so smile more, be kinder, have be more compassionate. And if nothing else, in the way you look at people, sometimes compassion comes from nonverbal
as an
cues.
equal.
Absolutely, everyone is, and so yes, please come back. I think you and I could talk for hours and have all kinds of really cool conversations. So, but do me a favor, read the positive thought for the week.
A woman with a purpose doesn't have to pursue people or opportunities. Her light causes people and opportunities to pursue her.
I really like that.
Me too.
I strive over the years and all the challenges that I've had have helped build this foundation of understanding that life isn't perfect, and if you're doing the right things and pursuing excellence for yourself, whatever that means, I know it's individual, then those opportunities and those people will come to your life.
They will.
And you're one of them. Thank you so much for being here today. You've been in my life and now in the listeners' lives, so we're really grateful for you sharing your story.
And thank you for having me. I've had so much fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a great platform for just people in general. Their stories are so amazing. So this is the end of the show. We are going to have a great show next week. I tell you, Brandy, you might want to come back. We as moral support to me, because the show is about dating.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that. That was fun.
I date my husband, and I'm sure you date Tim as well. But
dating.
Yeah, we're going to have a dating expert, and then we're going to have some women on the show that are in that dating life, and we're going to talk about the ups and downs, the real life stories of people who are dating today. So don't miss next week's show, and don't forget to live your real life.